Hey, what's up? I'm Drew with The Savory. Today we're making another one of the 5 mother sauces, velouté. So we're going to turn our pan on medium heat. Then we're going to add the butter, 3 tablespoons. We're going to let that melt a little bit. Once your butter's melted, you want to add your flour, 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose. You just want to whisk that together, get it completely combined. Now that we have our roux, we want to let it cook just a little bit, but not too much because we want it to stay light in color. Now that our roux is cooked a little bit, we're going to add our 2 cups of white chicken stock. Now we're just going to whisk it together and let it thicken naturally as it comes up to temp. So you want to keep whisking your sauce. You'll know it's done whenever it coats the back of a spoon. So now that we think our texture's there, we're going to check it with the back of a spoon. Once it coats the back of the spoon, we know it's done. And the texture looks like it's right there. Now that it's coated the spoon and the texture is where it needs to be, go ahead and season it up with a little bit of salt, just a pinch, and just a dash of pepper. Just need to give it a quick whisk, mix that in. And that's sauce velouté. Now, every sauce needs a dish, so I'm going to whip something up and bring it back to plate with this. So I've got some herb roasted chicken and oven roasted red skin potatoes. They're going to go really well with our velouté sauce here. It's going to put some potatoes down at the bottom of the plate and a chicken breast right there. Take my sauce. Just going to spoon it over the top and all around. That's herb roasted chicken with roasted potatoes and our velouté sauce. I'm Drew with The Savory. For more mother sauces, hit us up at thesavory.com. See you next time.
Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with basic tomato sauce. One of my most requested food wishes, Chef, show us your all-purpose basic tomato sauce. So here it is. And it is very basic. So you're going to finely dice 1 onion and 1 rib of celery, very small. Some people use carrot, I don't. I'm going to add some olive oil, not really strong extra virgin, just regular olive oil, and a pinch of salt. And over medium-low heat, you're going to sweat that for a long time, like 15 minutes. I want it to get really soft and golden. And then the star of the show. This is the secret to every great tomato sauce, San Marzano tomatoes. You have to find these. They're from Italy. They don't look like any other plum tomato. Look at that. They're just magnificent. They're long. They're almost seedless. They're just really meaty. Great flavor. You got to go to an Italian market or a big supermarket. But you can find those. They're often packed with some basil leaves, which is, bonus. So I have 2 cans of those. All right, you're going to crush it with your hands. Now, there's better ways to do this, but there's no other way that you should do this. Does that make any sense? It should. All right, so crush it really fine with your hands till you basically have a puree, and we are ready to go. All right, so our onions and celery should be really soft and sweet and golden by now. You don't want to brown them, but you want them to be really well sweated. I'm going to add in my garlic. Cook that for about a minute. I'm going to add my salt, my sugar, a little bit of red pepper flake, a little bit of dry Italian herbs, a little bit of anchovy paste. That's right, relax. You're not going to taste it. Don't tell anyone you put it in there. In fact, you know what that's called? Secret ingredient. And a tiny, tiny bit of white vinegar. I'm going to raise the heat up to medium. I'm going to cook that for a couple minutes, and I want to evaporate the liquid. I don't want it to brown. I don't want any color on the bottom of the pan. But I do want to cook that until all the visible liquid has evaporated. See that? Kind of looks dry. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of tomato paste, and I'm going to cook that a little bit. I'm going to say 2 minutes. Just takes the edge off. Then we're going to add our San Marzano tomatoes. Be careful not to splash your camera. And then last but not least, a couple tablespoons of fresh Italian parsley. All right, give that a stir. All right, we're going to add a little splash of water, and you're going to do that occasionally as this cooks. When that comes up to a simmer, we're going to turn it down to low, and we're going to simmer for an hour and a half. Now, some of these tomato sauce recipes I see, they say simmer 30 minutes. Come on, you got to go longer than that. So every once in a while, you're going to give it a stir. If you need to, you're going to add a little splash of water. And that's it. Hour and a half later, you're going to have a beautiful, all-purpose, not too chunky, not too smooth tomato sauce. And whenever you see me saying just add some tomato sauce to this, to that, this is basically the one I'm using. If I'm going to do a meat sauce, this is my base, and I just add meat to it and so forth. So anyway, there's not one tomato sauce I use, there's a bunch. This is just a basic workhorse, all-purpose tomato sauce, and that's how I make it. So anyway, I just granted about 300 people's food wish. They wanted to see my basic tomato sauce. There it is. And by the way, no metal utensils. You only can use a wooden spoon for this, otherwise it's bad luck. Anyway, go to the site, all the ingredients are there, and as always, enjoy.
If there's one sauce that has a reputation for being difficult, a sauce that strikes fear into the hearts of chefs everywhere, it's hollandaise. Now hollandaise, just like mayonnaise, is a fat and water emulsion. Normally when you mix together fat and water, the fat's going to separate and float on top of the water in a greasy layer. But the key to a successful emulsion is to break that fat up into droplets so tiny that they stay evenly dispersed, causing the liquid to thicken and turn opaque. Traditionally, the way that you do this is by whisking together egg yolks and lemon juice in a double boiler until they're hot and frothy, and then slowly whisking in butter in a thin and steady stream. As you whisk, the butter breaks into minute droplets, while the egg yolk acts as an emulsifier, helping to keep those droplets evenly dispersed and thickening the sauce. What you get is a creamy, smooth sauce with a rich texture and mild flavor that's perfect for vegetables, fish, and eggs. But there's a lot of ways it can go wrong. If you don't whisk fast enough, or if you add your butter too fast, the sauce will end up greasy and broken. If you don't cook your eggs enough, it won't thicken properly, but if you cook them too much, you end up with broken scrambled eggs. The fact of the matter is, if you want to learn how to do it the traditional way, the road to perfect hollandaise is paved in broken sauces. But here's the good news. There's an alternative method that is completely foolproof, produces a hollandaise that's every bit as good as the traditional version, and takes about a minute start to finish. All you need is a small pot, a glass measuring cup, and a hand blender with a cup that barely fits its head. We start by combining an egg yolk, a teaspoon of water, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and a pinch of salt in the bottom of a blender cup. Next, we melt a stick of butter on the stovetop until it's completely hot and bubbling. It should register about 220 degrees Fahrenheit with an instant read thermometer. Pour that butter into a glass measuring cup. Now all we've got to do is stick the hand blender into the cup, start it running, and then slowly drizzle in our butter. As the hot butter hits the eggs, they start to cook. By the time you've added all of your butter, about 30 seconds later, the eggs are fully cooked and you've got a smooth, creamy, hot hollandaise sauce that is completely indistinguishable from one made using the traditional whisking method. Hollandaise is at its best right when you make it, but if you want to store it, your best bet is to keep it in a small, lidded pot in a warm spot somewhere near your stove. Just make sure that you use it within a couple of hours. Food Lab signing out.